cases to serial killers, missing persons, and more.
100% he did this.
I'd go off into fantasy world.
How much more lucky can you get that you're not on death row?
You want to know what we know.
My name is Jay. This is Guilty of Crime.
Hello, everybody. We have a little crowd today. We'll see how that rolls in, but that doesn't matter because today we're talking about Lauren Dumolo or Dumolo. I just talked to her father, Paul Dumolo, and we had a love fest, so to speak. What a wonderful guy. This is going to be a big story. I'm glad the people that are here today. Hello, KKR, Stormcat, hey, Krista Cameron, what's up? Gigi saying hi to Carly, not even hi to me. I don't even get a hi. Just kidding. Krista, Maggie, Valerie, and Adam are already talking. Good boy. And Paul is here. All right, so Paul is Lauren's father, and we're going to turn this into a however many part series it comes out to be. Right now, it's a 10-part series, and we have lots of content for you. There's a podcast named Complicit. We're going to introduce their award-winning podcast show. They did a 10-part series, and we're going to bring that 10-part series to life, folks. And we're going to keep the attention on Lauren, and you're going to find out all the twists and turns that happened throughout these years, what's happening now. It's a big deal. So you're going to be happy that you caught this initial live. Some of these lives may not be live. Some of these episodes may not be live. We may do a premiere, may film it behind the scenes, and then premiere it. So hello from Finland again. What's up? And Athena, what'd you look into after chatting with me? Yes, thank you, Adam. Hit that like button, folks. Sweetie Brookshire. Everybody's saying hi to Carly's the show. Carly's the star of the show today. Where are you, Carly? Just kidding. And Carrie, thank you for bringing myself and Paul together, as well as Lauren Dumolo and this case. It's going to be a big deal. We want to bring this to light, and we're going to have a big series that people can consume. So you guys will be happy about that. All right. So everybody's in here. Hopefully a lot of people don't know about this case, but you will now, especially that you're on my channel. And I have such a wonderful crime crew here to help. So let's bring up a picture of Lauren. We have a lot of different things going on today. I'm going to introduce, and then we're going to play the Complicit a trailer so you know what you're getting into. I think you all are going to love this. And I want you to know Paul was on the Dr. Phil show about this case. He was on the John Walsh show, the new one. I think it's called Missing. What's it called? I don't know. I have it. I have everything written down, but Paul has been doing his due diligence in trying to find his daughter and find out what happened. So it didn't even come up. What happened there? Hold on. It's just sharing my pictures of nothing. So let's try it again and see what happens. I can still see it's not really doing what it's supposed to do. Can you see the missing picture, folks? That's what I want to know. Or is it just showing you my files? All right. It's not To Catch a Predator. There is one that's called To Catch a Predator, but there's also another one. Let me pull this down and bring it up a different way. 1 second. All right. Let's do it this way. Take this down. I have so many windows up. This is a big story. And if this turns into 10 parts, it could absolutely be 10 parts. It could be 11 parts. But if it becomes 10 parts, then it's just a giant story to tackle. And you guys are going to hear about everything, see clips from everything. So Paul was on To Catch a Predator. He was on the Dr. Phil show. He's been on the news. This has been years of twists and turns and finding a body, finding remains. Just so much. All right, let me get to it. Now I found it. Sorry, y'all. I'm doing my best here to do this, bring this podcast to life. Many of you listen to my show as a podcast, and you're doing dishes or something. So, Carrie says pursuit. We're going to show all that today. This is the introduction. There's Lauren there. Lauren Dumolo was born July 14, 1990. My birthday is July 25th. So happy almost birthday coming up. That means she's how old, Carrie? Anyway, how old would she be? So she was born July 14, 1990. That means she is or was spiritually, she's still here, a Cancer, folks. And she was last seen once again in Cape Coral, Florida. That's where Wade Wilson did his murder spree. He brought her up. We don't think that Lauren Dumolo is connected to Wade Wilson, but as we go through this, you will listen, you will hear, you'll find out, and you'll make your assumptions. So, Lauren was last seen June 19th, 2020. So we're coming up on the anniversary just passed of 4 years. She was at her apartment located on Coronado Parkway in Cape Coral, Florida. She was reported missing 2 days later on June 21st. So now, and thank you, Paul, she would be 34, almost 34. And I said that to Carrie because she was giving me numbers and information, and Carrie loves information. And, I got to tease you, Carrie. So, Crystal Zugi says, my son's birthday is July 19th. Well, coming up, he's a Cancer. I'm July 25th. I'm a Leo. Lauren Dumolo is still a Cancer. She's out there. Her spirit is somewhere, and I'm sure that Paul prays and he feels her presence. We're going to talk to him on the next episode. I'm going to bring him. I have clips of him today talking, but I wanted to make sure that I introduce this big giant case the best that I can without having, guests or having to think about what I'm saying. And I don't want to talk over anybody. Yes, hearts to Paul, prayers for him, a parent's worst nightmare. And yet, what an amazing man Paul is. Just a great guy. I'm glad I got to talk to him, and I'm sure we're going to talk a lot more. I have a feeling. Michelle Donovan says, I'm a Leo, 8-1. Well, happy birthday season. All right. Hey, everyone. Thank you for covering Lauren's case. Well, J.E., you're welcome. And Paul, if you're listening right now, I'd like to get you on the show next week and other family members that have been on the news involved. Okay, so put the word out. We can have different people up per episode and various things that I have planned. So you're the best person for the big case packed with all it has entailed. Well, thank you. And hello, Lisa. All right, so let's continue so we can start getting into this monster of a case. Today, I think it's appropriate to lay the foundation, and then you guys will have to wait, actually, for one time. Normally, I come out and you hear everything. This story, you're going to have to wait to hear what happens next week, what's going to happen, and you're going to be, biting your nails, waiting to see what happens. So thank you, Paul. Thank you, Crystal, Michelle Donovan. Thank you. Yeah, it's going to be different than what I normally do. Let me show you scroll through some of the pictures. I can show you this if you guys want to if you want to screenshot that, I can certainly do that. There's the submit your tip there. So if anybody, it seems to be people that are in Cape Coral and in that area, you all people are local. So take a look. I'm going to show these pictures as I continue laying the foundation. And then I'm going to play a song that Paul wrote for his daughter. So touching. My dad hung up on me 19 years ago when he found out I was gay. And we got this man that's just probably the Dad of the Year award that doesn't have this daughter anymore. So kudos to you, Paul, and big love to you. I'd like to give you a big hug. I'm I'm actually really excited about doing a series about this case and the way we're going about it, and also use working with, and I hope to get them on the phone soon, Complicit, which is an award-winning podcast. Um, it's a true mystery, podcast, and they're fantastic. So I'm bringing their podcast to life. Now, raise your hand or how about you just put a 1 if you, when you are listening to a podcast, for those of you that listen to podcasts that are strictly podcasts without people's faces or pictures going, how many of you put a 1 in chat? Go to your phone and start Googling the people, and you want to see what they look like because you can't take it anymore. Murder Candy Podcast with Avery. Yes, everybody can see you. Thank you for being here. What's up? And if you are a podcast and you'd love to do something with me, you should email me. Okay, so this is what I'm doing. Thank you, Stormcat. Thank you, Melinda. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you, Carly, J.E., Jet. Okay, I'm not the only one then. And don't worry about it, Moonbeam, no worries. No sweat off my back. 19 years ago, his loss. But my focus today is on Paul Dumolo and Lauren Dumolo. Okay, so it looks like the overwhelming amount of people listen to podcasts like I do, like Sword and Crime, or Sword and Scale. I'm sorry, I said that. You listen to Sword and Scale and they're fantastic, but you listen to Sword and Scale and you want to know what those people look like. You want to be all in their business. You want to see them. You want to know about them. And that's what I'm doing here today. I want you to see these people, hear how they breathe, hear how they talk. Lisa Carter says, I live in Cape Coral. I'm familiar with the neighborhood. Well, you're going to be familiar with the case now. And Murder Candy Podcast is Paul. Are you still in Cape Coral? We're going to find all that out today. True crime. Mr. Strategic. Hope all is well. Just getting on the stream. Well, hello. And I'm waiting to do another collaboration with you. I think that was one of the best episodes I've ever had with Mr. Strategic. I listen sometimes while driving. Exclusive. Okay. Well, most people, I think, would probably want to know and see the pictures. So I'm going to just scroll through these and I'll land on one. Let me go through them and then I'll lay the foundation and we'll start. We'll listen to the song that Paul played. We'll listen to his clip and we'll get the whole foundation of this story. All right. So let's go back and start here. This is Lauren, beautiful Dumolo, and she just went missing. People don't just go missing, folks. They don't. Okay. So she went missing one day, and June 19, 2020, she was last seen. Her purse was discovered by a citizen of 4 Freedoms Park. If you guys know the area, it's 4818 Tarpon Court. And that's where she was there. She was frequently there. Her cell phone was actually found in her apartment, folks. So, really weird. I don't think that an alien swooped her up. I highly doubt it. This young, beautiful, she would be 34-year-old single mother, disappeared June 19th, 2020. And there's a big story to tell. There is her amazing father. There she is, and I'm not sure. We'll find out who these people are as we go. If Carrie or one of you in chat want to tell me, please do. All right, let me. I don't know what happened here. So there she is. There are the kids, and I think you guys are gonna. More people will start coming back when they see this every week. Right now, this is probably the smallest chat I've had, and that's okay. There's probably waiting for Karen Reed and watching the fan spin. Yeah, no aliens disappearing, and I have a feeling that no alien took her. But check out this beautiful family as this unfolds. She is gorgeous. Her daughter's gorgeous. Athena, you're going to hear all about it. She had a boyfriend, but you're going to hear what Paul thought about that guy. And I'm going to show you a picture next. I just wanted to show some love. One of her sisters, Cassie. So that's who that is. That's Lauren on the left, Paul in the middle, Cassie on the right, and I'm assuming her daughter, which I don't normally particularly like to show children, but these pictures are out there, so let them be out there. All right. All right, so I'm going to show you what we think, or who we think her scumbag boyfriend. He may not be a scumbag, but I believe Paul when his sensors are going off and saying, I don't like this dude. How do so many people vanish? That's a good question. So let's see. Let's take a look at how many people vanish. Let's see if it's more likely. So there's another picture, not just, it's a little bit, you can't see it as well, but you can see the family love there. And I hope to get her sister on if she wants to come on. My goal on this channel is to help people tell their story and bring it to the whole story, not just the surface of it. We want to know everything. We want to know the family. We want to talk to the family. We want to hear about them, and we want to bring them and make sure they're in a good place in the light. All right. So there's that I showed you earlier. There's I'm assuming she loved riding motorcycles. There's a We Ride for Lauren fundraising event they had on October 3rd, Saturday. I'm assuming it's this year. Okay, there it is, folks. This is the guy that you're going to hear about. I don't want a spoiler alert, folks. So this is the guy. And thank you, Paul. Paul says he is a scumbag. Dun, dun, dun. This case is starting to unfold. Trust me, you're going to come back every Thursday and want the next content of this case. It's fantastic, and I love that the family is involved. That's my goal for every episode. If every episode I could have a family member, a cousin, a friend, a roommate, anybody that knew that person, I would do that. So that's what we're working our way to. Hit that like button, folks. Hit the like button so that we can get in that algorithm and have people like Carrie contact me and then get Paul, Lauren's father, to my channel. All right. I don't ask for a lot, but I always ask for a like and subscribe. All right. So I appreciate every single one of you. Dad's intuition. Adam, you're always on point. Hashtag bring Lauren home. That's right. And thank you, Jojo, for shouting out Mr. Strategic. I want you back on the show, Strategic. So let me know when you can come back on. Paul says, I never met him. Good thing. All right, let's keep this going. We're going to make sure that these Sweetie Brookahire says, hello, Paul. And Wolfpack says, scary thing about Florida, they can toss you to the gators and you'll never be found. I agree. Florida is a scary place. It is a scary place. Sarah says, parent intuition is usually always right. And in this case, it probably is, but we have to bring the awareness back and not let this case go and stay cold. And at the same time, tell you a story that is stranger than fiction and keep this beautiful person, Lauren, and the scumbag. So if you know this guy, if you're local, you've seen this guy, it's this guy hits you up in Plenty of Fish or whatever those sites are, just say no to him. I'm just saying. Never meet him is a red flag. And you're going to hear some more red flags, Adam. We're just getting started. I'm taking my time in telling the story. It's at least going to be 10 parts. And I'm dedicated to 10 parts every Thursday. If it's not on a Thursday, I'll do a pre-record and you'll still get it that week. But it will be a pre-record instead of a live. Whose name did you miss? The boyfriend's name? Well, right now I haven't said the boyfriend's name just yet. I don't even know the boyfriend's name just yet because it's not in the documentation just yet. We're going to find out. So the investigation, despite the efforts, there's been no significant leads or concrete clues. This is me just reading the case on a very surface level. Law enforcement hasn't made any arrests in the connection with the disappearance. Lauren's family remains in anguish, including Dad, wanting answers. As you know, Lauren's family speaks out. Paul Dumolo is one of the biggest advocates for his daughter. It reflects on their last phone call on June 18th, 2020. That's a long time ago, folks. All right. So Paul finds solace in the belief that he will see her again on the other side. He's very realistic because, as you know, many times, and I'm going to get off of this scumbag right now. We'll find out his name later, but just take a look at his face. And if you see him on a dating app, you're local to that area, just there's a red flag about this guy, okay? So don't take a look at his face. Don't date this guy. Dad, Paul, has not a good feeling about him, so let's stick with that, okay? All right, so let me go back to a picture of her. I'm almost going to be done with the storytelling, and we're going to start getting into the news clips, into the pictures, or into the everything. We're going to get into everything. This is my biggest show so far, and it's going to be a series that I'm actually going to complete as the serial killer. I can't even say it. The SKs are really gruesome, and sometimes YouTube doesn't like it. So I want to take it to Patreon, but I don't have time yet. Gen X, Hey Crime Crew, what's up? And y'all spread the word. Lauren Dumolo has been missing for over 4 years. The family speaks. We're going to have family on the show. Paul's going to speak today. Paul's in chat. All right. And Carrie says, we got Wade Wilson off the streets. More to go. This case is in Cape Coral, Florida. Carrie, do you know what Lauren's boyfriend's name is? I haven't got to that yet, but this is a big case. So if you're asking questions, you're not going to find out a lot of things until the following week. Today, we're laying the foundation. All right. So let's keep going. Paul is a realist. And as we know, if somebody's gone longer than a week, they're probably not going to come back to us alive. So he believes that he's going to see her on the other side again, as we all in the higher power believe those things. And it keeps us in a better place. So Cassie is Lauren's sister that I showed you in the other picture. And if she'd like to come on here, Paul, let her know. She's welcome to. I'd love to have her on and talk about her sister. Cassie emphasizes that many people continue to fight for Lauren, even though they didn't know her. And that's the case in Carrie's predicament here. Carrie, that's in chat, brought this case to me. It's in Cape Coral. It's local. So Gabriel is the scumbag's name, and you'll find out why I call him a scumbag. All right. I'm looking for her missing flyer to share on my missing persons Facebook page. Well, you can share the flyer if you'd like that I have here. You know, it'd be nice to share the episode as well. So there's the flyer. I don't know if you can screenshot that. What do you think about that? How about you take a screenshot of that? And then if you'd like, I can send that to you. You can send me an email. Okay. The mods will drop an email. So here you go. There it is. You could actually scan that. And if you scan that, it will take you to the tip line. Anyway, send me an email if you want information. There it is. You can certainly screenshot it and share it. All right. So please share the case. Jojo says scumbag, shitbag, douchebag, sidebag. What else can we come up with? Yes, please let Cassie know we're doing a 8 to 10 part series, depending on how many cases we need, and it could be more, how much time we need. Let Cassie know. We'd love to hear from her about her sister and plead to the Well, to anybody that's going to listen, this case has gone nationwide. Plead to the nation to send tips if you know anything, because people don't just disappear. All right. So that being said, we're going to pull this down and we're going to start with the 4-year mark that happened 8 days ago. Lauren's family speaks after a 4-year disappearance, and you're going to hear and see all the things that we have planned today. Dad's song, absolutely. It gives me goosebumps knowing that a dad would. I mean, it's a song, but it's just great. It's great. All right, and thank you, JoJo, for promoting the Secret Crime Crew Live, the new tier. If somebody could also drop a link for Paul would like to become a Crime Crew member. I think that should do it right there. So, Paul, if you're listening, there's a link in chat. All right, let's, if you would, that's how you can join the case. So, right now, Cassie describes her relationship with her sister as both hot and cold, as always rooted in love. And hopefully we hear it in their own words. As of now, they have not been specific on the suspects identified. The mystery surrounding her remains unsolved, but leaving her family frustrating and desperate for closure is why we're here. All right, so let's share this next one, and we're going to keep going. And I appreciate everybody in here today. Be happy that you're in here, and we're still in the lower amount. We still don't have a lot of people here today, so you're able to actually talk and speak, and I don't know why it's like that. Why is this? Okay, I don't want to share this anymore. So when we start having 200 to 500 people in chat, then it gets crazy. All right, Lauren Dumolo's family speaks after 4 years. 4 years since that. Let me see if I can play it from here. Wednesday, which was 8 days ago. Mark that.
Sad. Thank you, Amy. Today marks 4 years since Lauren Dumolo disappeared from her
Hold
Cape
on.
Coral home.
Let me make sure I'm getting this in the way that I should. Sometimes the way that they show these aren't the best, and it doesn't let me open this up anymore. So let's see what they have to
Gas
say.
station security footage shows her
There you
handing in
go.
an application on June 18th of 2020. Dumolo was last seen at her home on Coronado Parkway in Cape Coral.
Yeah, her purse was found at Four Freedoms Park 2 days after her disappearance, but her cell phone was still at her apartment. Her parents are still frustrated and heartbroken that they don't know where their daughter is or exactly what happened to her. Wink News reporter Liz Byro joins us now live in studio. So Liz, where does this case stand right now?
That's as loud as it goes, folks.
Say this case is still very active, but when I talked to her dad, he fears the case of his missing daughter has gone cold.
That's as loud as it goes, folks. Basically, I'm just showing you what I just told you. I can't do anything. It's a news station clip, but it'll get better. I can't go higher.
Just when Paul Dumolo looks at these pictures of his girls, he wishes he had a time machine. This one's his favorite. His little Lauren and Cassie, born 13 months apart.
See, Lauren could do whatever she wanted and say whatever she wanted to Cassie, but
that's Paul.
Else did. Lauren be the first one there.
Lauren was older, always protecting Cassie. Paul watched his kids grow to have kids of their own, but in his mind, Lauren hasn't changed in 4 years. This is how he remembers her. Lauren took this photo the last day her dad saw her. The last time he spoke to her was a phone call on June 18th, 2020.
Something I always do, because I'm afraid that I'll forget, is replay that phone call, last few phone calls I got from her, so I don't forget what her voice sounds like.
Aww. Lauren Dumolo was reported missing the next day, reportedly last seen by her boyfriend. Her phone was in her Cape Coral apartment. Her purse was found at the nearby Four Freedoms Park. Everything since that day doesn't add up to Paul.
Without a doubt, frustrated because I don't know what it's going to take, or I, to be honest with you, I don't think there will ever be any arrests made too far.
Don't say that.
But he remembers her like this and finds peace in the promise he'll see her again on the other side.
Paul, I'll tell you right now, there's been many cases that have been solved. Maybe you'll see your daughter on the other side in the light, but let's not lose hope that we do get this out there, keep it out there, and that hope that they find something, they have DNA or something comes back later on. It is definitely not, it's not lost and it's not fallen on deaf ears. Okay. So I don't want you to think that there won't be arrest. I think that we have more hope now that there's DNA, they got cameras. The police may have more than you think, folks. And if we focus on that scumbag of a boyfriend that you didn't even know, think about it that way. So we want this case to be solved, and I think there's hope.
While he wishes law enforcement had more answers, he and Lauren's sister Cassie are forever grateful for all those who kept Lauren's name alive and never gave up the search.
I wish that Lauren could see, like, even if she didn't always feel loved and welcomed and accepted or different from this world, that there are so many people here still
We're
fighting
here.
for her that
There's
don't
her
even
sister.
know her.
Countless flyers and searches have been organized for the single mom, a sister, a daughter, and a friend. Lauren Dumolo
Yes.
and Lauren's dad told me he can picture Lauren looking down and saying, man, all of this for me. And of course, if you know anything, it's never too late to come forward.
All right. So everybody, it's never too late. And I believe that there's a huge hope in this case being solved, finding suspects, police moving and taking it out of the cold cases. If that's the case, all you have to do is hit that like button and share it in the Facebook platforms. There's a Lauren Dumolo Facebook group, and just share it. The more it gets out there, and when you see all these shows that Paul has been on, trust me, this is not falling on deaf ears. Okay, so let me pull this down. I'm going to show you. We're going to run through this so you don't forget what this is about. If you didn't hear a couple of sentences in that first round, trust me, it doesn't matter. You're going to know. So they spelled her name wrong, and that's okay. So in the pursuit with Callahan Walsh, there's another segment, and I want you to hear this. We're going to do the clip of Dr. Phil. We're going to show you that Paul has been everywhere looking and trying to get the word out. It's Lauren Dumolo, but they typoed it. All right, let's listen to this. And just remember, folks, we've got lots of episodes to cover, and sometimes the news stations don't put their volume very loud, and I don't know why.
Yeah, living in the shadows. In Cape Coral, Florida, a 29-year-old single mom, Lauren Dumolo, witnessing.
Yeah, so with Lauren's case, a lot of suspicion around why and how she disappeared. About a mile from her home was a park called Fort Freedom's Park, a park that she visited regularly. And she disappeared that morning in June, and her purse was located at that park with all of its contents intact, including her wallet with her ID in it. She was seen at a convenience store just the day before applying for a job. All things that would indicate that she wasn't leaving town or had no intention on leaving town or on volition. And so a lot of mystery around that case, and law enforcement has just hit a dead end. They've hit a wall. And so they're looking for the public's help, and hopefully In Pursuit the Missing can shine a white hot spotlight on this case, get that information out to the public in hopes that we...
And remember, this is John Walsh's son, Callahan Walsh. And when you get a segment like this and you're out there on the news and you're bringing it to light, and then you do another 10-part series where all the crime crew is sharing this, talking about, putting in Twitter, putting it in forums, I promise you it's going to stir things up. So that's what we're here for today. Let's go. Let's do this together.
Get that tip that breaks that case wide open.
A lot of this, when we have children, we breathe a sigh of relief when they get into their teenage years because we figure they can fend for themselves a lot easier. We know with human sex trafficking today, that's not necessarily the case. In Fort Lauderdale, a missing 15-year-old.
Sophie disappeared when she was 15 years old. She snuck out of her father's home where she was living late at night, but never returned.
Okay, now they're talking about Sophie. So that was their segment there. I'm going to stop this. I just want you to see what a dedicated person that Paul is. I want you to hear this song so that this really hits you. I'm not going to play it. I'm only going to play it for like a minute, but I want you to know where Paul is coming from and where the family's coming from. And 4 years isn't that long to not find somebody or have them arrested. all you have to do is get the attention of the police and get the attention of the suspect to slip up, folks. I have a feeling that Paul's gut feelings are strong, and let's focus on Gabriel and who he is, and let's not let this guy or anyone get away with this. Paul says, I hate Dr. Phil. You'll find out why. But we're going to play a little clip. I can't play his whole show because otherwise I do know why. I always loved watching John Walsh. I'm so glad his son followed his foot. Yeah, Adam, not Adam. Did they rename him? His name's Callahan, right? Adam was his first son. All right, really quickly. So, Paul, did you write this song and perform it for your daughter? Is that what I'm understanding? If you let me know, I'm going to play it for a minute. It's called Just a Little Improvising Over Backtracking is what that says on his caption. And then it says P. Scott 21. I'm not sure what the name or anything of it is. You can fill us in chat. What I'm assuming is you wrote and performed this for your daughter. Heartfelt. So this means I can't get this song pulled down because it's Paul's song, and I actually really love it. I listened to it earlier, so I'd love to incorporate it into one of my intros or something if you would let me, Paul. Paul says, Cape Coral Police, they blew this case, but it's never too late, and many suspects get arrested a long time after. Trust me on this. I've been around this a lot. So you wrote this song for your daughter, and we're playing it because I want you to know how heartfelt and what this means to Paul for us to be doing this episode and to keep looking for the person that did this. Any clues, tip them in, and just get everything going again, folks. All right? Yeah, I don't know who can do this. You're right. Let's listen for a minute. What a beautiful song. I'm not going to play all 7 minutes. I'm going to play another 30 seconds, but very beautiful, very talented. And Paul, we love you. We're sending our love to you. And he's going to be on here next week. Nothing's going to stop Paul from continuing in the search for whatever happened to his daughter. And hopefully we get an arrest and this doesn't stay cold. It looks like he's done everything he can. I've got much more to show you. And yeah, I feel this in my soul too. And it's for Lauren. So Lauren, prayer to you. Your dad's got your back. Yeah, I'll put it in the background for a minute. Can you guys hear me talking over this? It's raw emotion, folks. I love it. It's absolutely beautiful. I don't even want to stop it, but I'm just playing it in the back while I look for my other files to put on to the next segment. Isn't it beautiful, everybody? Yeah, goosebumps. I'd like to just put this on my YouTube channel and shout out to Paul in memory of Lauren. I love it. All right, I'm talking is why I lowered it, but I just wanted to share what a great dad this guy is and reach out to him if he wants if he has an email or something that he wants to share so that you all can personally um, talk to him or say anything you want, then he can share it in chat. Okay, I'm pulling up the next clip here, and you'll see what we're talking about when we say he's been on the Wall Show, he's been on Dr. Phil, he's been on quite a bit of. He's been on the news, he's been everywhere searching for his daughter. And hello, Lady J for Justice. All right, as much as I don't want to stop this, it's beautiful. We played a good 3 minutes. Paul, we love you. I love this song. I want this song to be mixed into something that I do, if that's okay. Feel free to do so, Jay. Thank you. All right, now we're going to go to the next cut. And we're going to, I'm so happy that I'm able to tell this story, folks, and that we're going to do a series on it. But now I want you to hear Dr. Phil. I don't even know why he labels it like that, but we're going to be happy that we got some footage and we can't play it. I have to stop it frequently. So he calls it Missing Women's Belongings Found at Local Park. And Paul says he's not a fan of him. So let's find out why. So now we're at July 20th, 2020, like I told you, and this is when it all begins. And I hope that the music doesn't, take, if it does, I'll just cut the music out later. But I appreciate the awareness of each of these platforms, and I'm bringing it all together to bring it to you so that everybody can start talking about this again and get it going. So Lady Justice says, my dad is close to here. Very nice area. It is, and you wouldn't think that would happen. And I want to know who that person is that last saw her possible last scene. Thank you for being here, Brian and Jill. Driving, so just listen. It's okay. We're doing a podcast to life. We're bringing a podcast to life. Again, hopefully they don't pull it down right in the middle. Before we get started, Paul says the reason he's not a fan of Dr. Phil is because he wouldn't let him say what he needed to say. He had his own agenda, and then he had Cape Coral Detective come on by satellite, and he knew nothing about it. So, folks, that's not how we work here. We don't have an agenda. Our agenda is what you need to get out there. And sometimes I have to direct it so people understand, because when someone comes on and they're upset, they will just go off on a tangent that nobody knows. So that's how we run stuff. Murder Candy podcast with Avery says, my family's in Cape Coral. My niece runs a gymnastics studio in Fort Myers. My nephew owns a construction company. You do have many ties, and it sounds like you can do boots on the ground things. I don't know if you actually have a podcast or what, but we should talk. My email should be dropped below. Let's go.
Okay, now
I could already see the agenda building, folks, and he comes right off without saying this. Lauren Dumolo is missing, this beautiful young lady. We have, he's coming off with this, talking about a Baker Act and talking about that. Why come off with that? To bring the drama, folks. So keep that in mind as you listen to this. I can already see where he's going with this. And what is he on? He looks like he's heavily medicated. If somebody can tell what the Baker Act, I believe it's committing somebody to a hospital. All right, I can see where the agenda is going on this. All right, so assuming she was trying to harm herself, we don't know what being Baker Act have anything to do with her missing. Well, what it has to do with missing is maybe they're trying to get to they're trying to say maybe she did that to herself. Maybe she took off. Yeah, a Baker Act is if you're dangerous to yourself and others, and they hold you at a psych ward for 72 hours. It can vary from state to state. Paul says, my daughter was drugged by her boyfriend. And are we talking about Gabriel here, folks? Is that why that happened? So now the story is coming out, and we have lots of time to keep going, and many more episodes. So thank you for filling us in on that. It's an involuntary trip to the mental health eval, and typically 72 hours. You can't leave because they don't want you to hurt yourself or others. Paul says the reason she did this, and we're going to hear.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link.
Nope, I don't. Thank you. I don't want to hear. That was way too loud for me. All right. All right, folks. Yeah, heartbreaking reality, and we've got much more. This is going to be a big one, everybody. Thank you for being here. This is probably and I think because it's a missing person case, and it's not something that's like, oh, well, we've got the Karen Reed. If I was to say the Karen Reed verdict's in right now, everybody would be on here. So get your conversations in, get your questions in now, because after we do a few episodes, I have a feeling we're going to be a lot more, it's going to be a lot crazier here. Did anybody see the funeral today for the case we're covering, Jocelyn Nungry? Anyway, I'm trying to pull up the next video. That's why I'm talking about that while I do that. All right, so here it is. If you just came in, folks, now we're backtracking. Well, we started at 4 years ago when she went missing. Every year they check in with Paul, if I'm correct, and this is a year later, still nothing. Let's listen to this. Again, you didn't miss anything because now you're going to hear.
Poor old girl has gone 49 days without seeing her mom.
Michaela is her whole life, so she wouldn't just up and leave that.
Lauren Dumolo's boyfriend was the last person to see her.
Still to this day, trying to put the pieces together while we're down.
Every day that goes by without answers, Lauren's dad fears the worst.
I was kind of to the point where, I don't think we're going to find her alive.
You're watching NBC2 News at 11. I'm Brenna White.
And I'm Peter Bush. Lauren Dumolo was last seen June 19th at her apartment. Her boyfriend reported her missing.
All right, everybody, if you came in late, here you go. There's a recap, but then it's also an update, folks. We're gonna have some recordings that Paul gave to us so you can hear even more. And then we're gonna bring Complicit podcast on, and we're gonna bring the podcast to life with guests, etc. Tiff Knox says, hiya, folks. All right, let's go. Let's keep going.
2 days later.
1 month ago today, the Cape Coral community searched for Freedom's Park, where police found Lauren's purse and cell phone. Victoria Reslow is live at that park now with exclusive new information from police on the desperate search for this missing mom.
With every day that passes, detectives say this case becomes harder to solve. Tonight, Lauren Dumolo's family tells me that they are prepared for the worst, even if that means finding Lauren dead. But that does not mean their search for her is over.
That's harsh.
I love her very much, more than anything in the world,
We just want her to come home.
After 7 weeks of strenuous searching, lead detective Nick Jones says they have interviewed many people, including Lauren's boyfriend, Gabrielle Pena.
Do you think that her boyfriend had anything to do with her disappearance?
I can't answer that.
Pena was the last person to see Lauren the day she vanished
There
on
it
June
is.
19th. Her purse, phone.
All right, folks. So his name is Gabriel Pena, and they showed a picture of him. Paul has a bad feeling about him, and you're going to hear why in a bit. So keep that in mind. Thank you for dropping the Complicit podcast link. We haven't even got to that yet. Big show. We're doing big series, and I hope that it catches enough traction that everybody can hear this story 4 years later and start piecing more things together. Cops always have information that we don't know about. Cape Coral, you're another person that was local, so you know all about it. All right.
Phone and everything in it was left behind.
It's kind of crazy not to be able to do anything.
Lauren's family says she always had her phone with her.
So why she left her phone behind, I have a problem with that.
They say the phone was last used in Lauren's apartment on June 19th. It was a call to Pena, but he didn't answer. Pena claims he never heard from her.
When I was calling her to ask her for something and she wasn't picking up and she wasn't calling me, I was like, that's something weird.
The week before Lauren disappeared, her sister Cassie helped her pay rent.
Somebody that's going to run away or hurt themselves are not going to go pay a bill.
And the day before she disappeared, Lauren's family says she was seen on surveillance cameras of businesses near the park applying to jobs.
Wow.
Then she vanished.
Nowadays, there's cameras everywhere, and she's not on anything.
Family says she would not willingly leave leave her almost 6-year-old daughter behind.
She loves her daughter more than anything in the world.
Michaela is her whole life.
Now, 49 days later, they wonder what happened to her.
Either she got into an argument with somebody or somebody tried, maybe sexually abuse her or something, or try to take her, and she was murdered. That's my belief.
Pena filed a missing persons report for...
And Paul, we appreciate you for being a realist. It's so hard to say something like that about your daughter, but you're worldly. You're a truck driver. You move around, you live, you hear about the news, and we feel your pain. And for you to be able to say that, it's heartbreaking, but I'm glad you're being real about this case, because people don't, like Holly J says, pay rent and run away. And that boyfriend, Gabriel Pena, I'd like to dig into him more and find out. Maybe we can get him on the show and get some answers from him. Not the mama. Jess, where are you at? Jojo, you research for me all the time. I don't know where everybody is tonight. I don't see Patty Deb on here. There's a lot of people. There must be something else that I ran it at the wrong time, but I know people are going to listen. So let's do some research on Gabriel Pena and see if we can get him on here to do an interview. I'd love to interview him.
Lauren on June 21st, but because of an error in the report, detectives didn't start working the case until 5 days after her disappearance, something Pena has nothing to do with.
And not to be able to hear her voice or see her
Here we go.
hurt.
On July 2nd, Lauren's shirt was found at Four Freedoms Park, buried in the sand. That is the last piece of evidence the family knows of.
There isn't any one person that I would rule out right now.
Detectives say this is still a missing persons case, but they are looking into any and all possibilities, even if that means Lauren is dead.
Mentally, we have prepared for the worst because that's what time tells us to do.
I won't be done until I find Lauren.
In Cape Coral, Victoria Reslow, NBC2.
All right, folks. Do you think that he would, do you think that Gabriel Pena would give an interview to us? Let's make that a goal. Jess, if you're listening or not, somebody that does research for me, if you can take a look into that, that would be fantastic. Let's get a hold of him. And Deception Detective, well, he should interview him, but he doesn't do live interviews like that. I could do an interview and then he can back me up on that. Okay, so let's make it a goal to get it. It's a little bit harder for me to get him on and get Deception Detective, and sometimes men feel more comfortable with women. So let me interview him and DD can come in and analyze that. Okay, and then we'll go from there.
This lead is the biggest lead that we've had in the life of this case.
Human remains found in a wooded area in Lee County could be the breakthrough needed to solve a year-old case of a missing Cape Coral mother.
Cape Coral Police Chief, you just heard from there, along with Lee County Sheriff's Office, announcing today they do believe those remains could be that of Lauren Dumolo, seen here. But tonight, they say they need your help to make sure that they are fully solving this case. Thanks for being with us. I'm Patrick Nolan.
And I'm Jane Monreal, and Fox 4's Rob Manch digging deep.
All right, there's our goal for tonight, folks. Let's get Gabriel Pena to talk to me. I think he'd be comfortable with me, and it sounds like English is his possibly his second language. When he was saying his statement, it wasn't really right, so that might be what throws him off as well. But let's get an interview with him. It shouldn't be too hard at all. All right, let's go.
Into the case tonight. He joins us live now from North Fort Myers, where the investigators, or where we believe they were investigating last night. Rob, you came to this location through your reporting.
Yeah, Jane. So all the sheriff's office was able to tell us in the press conference today was that they found the remains somewhere in North Fort Myers off of Pine Island Road. But earlier this week, we got a call from a Fox 4 viewer who said he personally saw deputies carrying a body out of the woods on the other side of Pine Island Road here near the intersection with U.S. Business 41. And we also spoke with a woman right here in this shopping center today who said she saw that police activity as well. This expanse of woods off of Pine Island Road may have been the final resting place of Lauren Dumolo. Sally Elkins works across the street and says she saw the commotion when deputies were on the scene last week.
Everybody was talking about they found a body, and I guess they had it roped off or something, so they couldn't get back there.
According to the police report, deputies responded on October 5th to a location where they found something, but it doesn't say what or where. But the description from Cape Coral Police Chief Anthony Sizemore fits this location.
It was a wooded area in unincorporated Lee County in North Fort Myers.
We also found police caution tape left back in the woods.
What are the chances of that, folks? Isn't Cape Cod a pretty small town? That's interesting. And yeah, Pinkcraft, a deception detective can give me questions to absolutely he could. But my first goal is to get Gabriel Pena on my show. Even if I can do an interview, that if I could just record his voice and a phone call, I would absolutely do that. But let's get him before we start doing anything else. Let me have a one-on-one with Gabriel Pena, and then we'll go from there. Cape Coral, that's what I meant to say. Cape Coral, folks. I am not Cape Cod, Cape Coral. I got you. It's just I'm reading the comments and talking. All right.
Elkin says this is an area where many homeless individuals camp.
The fact that she was back there where they camp, we don't know what really happened to her.
At this time, we don't have confirmation that the skeletal remains are in fact Lauren Dumolo. Sizemore says they're asking any dentists that worked on her teeth within the last 10 years to contact them.
If you could let us know if she was a patient, we will take care of getting the requisite court orders to be able to get that dental information to make that identification.
But Sizemore says even without that identification, this is the best lead his department has had in the Dumolo investigation. He even reached out to the family with an update.
I personally spoke with Lauren's father yesterday to let him know about the discovery, to hear it from us, and to also hear it from me to show him that the gravity of the situation, that although it is not confirmed, we cannot do that, we do believe it's promising.
I hope that they did find her and they can put her family can put her to rest.
And I did actually have the chance to speak with Lauren Dumolo's father, Paul, on the phone this evening.
Paul,
with Lee County Sheriff's Office announcing today they do believe those remains could be that of Lauren Dumolo, seen here.
I don't know what happened there, folks, but Paul is everywhere. It's great. Hold on. Another interview.
And he's in California right now, but he said he is aware of this discovery of the potential remains of his daughter. Now, we actually arranged to have a virtual interview, but then I didn't hear back from him. But Chief Sizemore says if they aren't able to obtain these dental records, they might have to use DNA testing on the remains. And he says that could take much longer, even years, to complete. We're live in North Fort Myers tonight. Rob Manch, Fox 4.
All right. So, Paul, you're amazing. You're all over the place. California is where I am, so you could stop by. Let's you can have a drink. I don't drink, but I might have one just because. All right, let's listen to this real quick, and then we'll get on.
Breaking at 11, human remains found along Pine Island.
Next, we have an interview we have a pre-recorded interview with Paul.
Road in North Fort Myers do not belong to missing Cape Coral mother Lauren Dumolo. The Lee County Sheriff's Office and Cape Coral Police Department held a news conference yesterday about the remains and said this.
We believe that there's a good possibility that these skeletal remains are that of Lauren's.
We know now for sure they are not Lauren's. Cape Coral Police Chief released a statement saying in part, quote, while this is a setback in the quest for closure for Lauren's family, hope remains that Lauren is still out there. We spoke to Lauren's father yesterday. He was also convinced the remains were his daughter. We reached out to the Dumolo family tonight, but have not heard back.
All right. Well, we heard back now because we're here and all right. I was just listening to them say it was the biggest lead that they had. I wanted to play quickly a trailer from Complicit so you know where we are going with this, and then I'm going to play the the audio from Paul. You guys are you're going to hear it. All right. So Complicit is the podcast that we're going to bring to life. So these people are fantastic. They're an award-winning show, and they okayed us to do this. What do you mean you can't hear anything, Melissa? Interesting. Can you guys hear me? All right. Anyway, let's make a press conference saying you found the remains, which wasn't even her. How heartbreaking. They absolutely had nothing to prove it was her. Yeah, definitely annoying. And let's get this back out there, folks. All right. Complicit, again, is award-winning. They did this. This was years ago. We're going to bring it to light, and when you're listening to a podcast, you want to see the people, you want to hear from the people, and that's what we're going to do here. All right. So let's go. Let's listen to this, and we can chat. All right. So we're going to hear what this is about.
At Airport Home Appliance, we understand there's more than one type.
What happened? That's weird because I paid for upgraded membership, and they're making me have this. I'm sorry. Let me figure out what. Maybe if I install the app. Let me fast forward it a little bit. I don't know why they're doing it.
Whether it's a small replacement or a full committed to making your dream.
Sorry, folks. I don't know why they did that. Hold on.
Vanished without a trace on June 19th.
Police called Dumolo.
Lauren Dumolo vanished without a trace on June 19th.
Police called Dumolo's disappearance suspicious.
Lauren Dumolo was last seen more than a week ago at her Cape Coral apartment, and police believe she's in danger.
Where is Lauren Dumolo?
You don't really.
All right. So this is what we're bringing to life. Complicit. Where is Lauren Dumolo? Lots of things, lots of twists, lots of turns, and hopefully we can get Lauren's sister on here. We're definitely getting Paul on here next week. Starzy says, I think some podcasts have ads embedded in their podcast. Well, I'm going to figure it out. I'm only playing a clip today. I have it even better. I have Paul talking. So let's just listen to this, and this will give you a good idea of what all the next episodes are going to be about and how they're going to be.
Really hear these stories in such a beautiful town. You feel like your whole world is safe.
This is a story that needs to be told because this story needs an ending.
Her message said, I don't know what to do. I need to get out of this situation. I need help.
Maybe somebody really was after her.
And I said, the girl you're supposedly in love with and engaged to has not been home and is missing. And you're not going to be there or go looking for her. I said, I got a big problem with all of this.
Unexpected twists and turns fuel a community-wide search to bring Lauren home. But Lauren is still missing, and nobody's talking.
I do believe she will be found. I really do believe that justice will be served. A lot of people.
This is how it's going to be, except we're going to have guests on the show, and we're going to have a goal of getting Gabriel on here. I got another minute or so, and then we're going to listen to Paul talk about this. 555 is an angel number, folks. Let's say a prayer for Lauren and her family, and you, Paul. If you have to go, that's okay. Come back on, and we're going to talk. Obviously, we're doing a live interview next week, and we're going to get to see Paul on here. All right.
Know exactly what happened.
There are so many puzzle pieces here that you can't figure out what happened.
Someone is responsible. Someone is complicit.
I'm not going to stop until I find out what happened to my daughter.
I'm Hillary Wadsworth. And I'm Caitlin Body. Join us as we seek to find out what really happened to Lauren Dumolo. Right. Complicit is now.
They're just playing music. Interesting.
Right. That needs carpet, hardwood, tile.
All right, so they do have some things embedded. I'll fix that. I'm going to take this down right now. I'll install the app and stop sharing this, but I'll get it fixed by next week. What I do have for you, however, is Paul talking now, and this is the part that you definitely want to hear. So we're bringing this podcast to life. It's going to be part podcast, part, obviously, recordings. Right now, Paul is driving, so here's his recording. We're going to play this right now. I wish I knew how to put the audio on there, but we're going to listen to this, and I'm going to chat with you all. You guys are going to help me get this case out there. There's 84 people in here and 88 likes. This case obviously didn't get in the algorithm, which is fine. We're going to make it get in the algorithm. We're going to get it back out there. We're going to collaborate with whoever we need to. And thank you. I'm not sure if it's Lisa Green, Cash App, but we're here for you. And I know that you guys are all going to be here when you hear this story. I believe I emailed. You did email me episode 1, and that was what I played, Carrie. That's what happened right there. We don't need the episode 1 yet because we're going to listen to Paul right now. All right.
Hi, this is Paul Dumolo. I'm
Lauren Dumolo's dad. This whole thing started June 18th.
All right, so he's telling his side of it, and this is just kind of like a teaser of what's going on, what's going to happen, but you're going to hear the words from him while he's driving. So we did a pre-record, and this is how we're rolling with this. Next week you'll see him next to me, and we'll be doing question and answers. So if you guys have any questions that you want to know after hearing this, you can email me. If not, we have plenty of content and plenty of things to ask him.
I got a phone call from my daughter's boyfriend, who I've never met and never spoke with until that night. And he called me to tell me that he got home from work and my daughter wasn't there when he got home, which to me was kind of odd because I've never heard from this guy, and he gets home from work and she's not there. I mean, I'm sure that happened on many occasions, you know, but for some reason he called me. And from that point on, the story just gets extremely complex. And
that's what we're going to get into and listen now. We're talking about, and we're focusing on Gabriel Pena. So Jojo, I know you love your research. Please, anybody that can help me research Gabriel Pena, if you could find his social media, you've seen a picture of him, let's do that. Let's get him. All right, let's listen.
There's so many moving parts, and it's probably going to take, it would take hours to explain it from beginning to end.
It's going to.
So that was on a Friday night, and I asked him if he, you know, went looking for her. Did he go to her mom's house because she lived around the block from her mom? Did she go up to the store to get cigarettes? Or she had a friend's house? And he said, no, I looked at all those places. He goes, and I actually even looked under the bridge. And that just struck me really odd. And I was like, you know, what are you talking about? You looked under a bridge? What the fuck does that mean to me, you know? I mean, I don't know anything about Cape Coral, you know? So why are you even bringing that up? And so he said, oh, yeah, well, there's this bridge, blah, 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 that she would hang out at and, you know, go sit there and meditate. And because my daughter was very spiritual and she would meditate and, you know.
All right, folks, what does that sound like to you? I think Paul has really good radar, very good intuition. And what he's saying is absolutely correct when he says, why would someone bring that up and be talking about going under a bridge or being under a bridge unless subconsciously that's maybe what he did with her body. You guys are right about the gators out there. What about him putting her at a bridge, putting her under a bridge or somewhere like that? So I want to focus on that. I want to focus on having you all help. There's people that did that for the Don't Fuck with Cats. Isn't that the show on Netflix? A bunch of internet sleuths got together and found this person that's doing that. We don't know, but we want to talk to Gabriel and see if we think he's lying, what he's talking about, what he says to what he said to Paul, and what we think about it from him. Play.
She was into karma and, you know, namaste and all of that kind of stuff. Anyway, you know, I found that very odd. So I said, well, you know, when she comes home, give me a call. So I was on a Friday night. So he tells me, oh, I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be spending the night at my friend's house. And I was like, well, actually, it was our fiance, because I believe from what my daughter told me, she had an engagement ring and he had asked her to marry her. They were together, I guess, around 4 years. And I said, so you're not going to go look for your fiance? And you're calling me, though, but you're going to spend the night at your friend's house? I said, I'm going to tell you something. None of this shit that you're telling me even makes sense. You know, I've never spoken to you before. I've never met you. And every time I was there, you know, to visit with my kids, there was always an excuse from my daughter why you weren't there. I said, you know, if I find out that, you know, you had something to do with something happened to my daughter, and I find out you were involved, you don't have to worry about the police. I said, because I'm going to be flying down there. I said, so, you know, you better call me as soon as you hear something. So the next day, Saturday, I got another phone call from him around 5 o'clock. in the afternoon. He said he just got home from work and she still wasn't there. Blah, 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 blah. You know, I said, really? I said, yep. I said, you want to look for her? You know, I got things to do and, you know, I'm going to be at my friend's house again. I said, you're going to be at your friend's house again. And, you know, my daughter is still not home. And he never told me anything about she tried calling him and he didn't answer. And she tried texting him and he didn't answer it. He left all of that completely out. He never heard from her, he told me, and he knew nothing about anything, da-da-da-da-da. So anyway, that was on a Saturday. Sunday, which was Father's Day, I didn't hear from my daughter, and that's when I knew things were really bad. And this was in the height of, you know, COVID. So at the time I was living in California.
All right, folks, after this, I'm going to play the video of Gabriel Pena speaks. I don't know if it's a video or it's just a statement because the video is not playing. But boyfriend of missing Cape Coral woman speaks. It was 3 weeks after Lauren had been missing. It's Dumolo is what her dad says. So her boyfriend Gabriel Pena spoke to Wink News, who's the main news source in Cape Coral apparently. So he does speak. And I'm trying to find the video of it, but let's listen to Paul and what he has to say about his intuition and what he feels about this guy and how he's full of shit and that he thinks that. It's really interesting and odd the time frame that it took him to even tell Paul to call to make a missing persons report. So there's a lot of odd things, and I'm not sure why this case didn't turn towards him more. Very interesting.
So I booked a flight and I got there on a Wednesday night, that following Wednesday. But on Sunday, just to back up a minute here, I had the Cape Coral police going to the house, and I called him up and I told him, you know, Cape Coral police are going to be at your apartment, and within the next 15 minutes, half hour, I need you to get over there and let them in. Oh, well, I don't have a ride and blah, 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 blah. I'm at my friend's house. I said, listen, I don't give a shit where you're at or what you got to do. Get over there. So about an hour and a half goes by and he calls me. He says, oh, I'm here, but they're not here. I said, an hour and a half later, did you really expect them to sit there and wait for you? I said, are you there right now? He said, yeah. I said, call them back right now. Wait for them to come back and let them in the apartment. And then after they get done with the apartment, searching everything and looking over everything, I want to call back and I want to know, you know, if they find anything or what's going on. Okay. So about 2 hours went by. I still haven't heard from them. So I called him back again. I said, what's going on? I said, the police find anything? He goes, oh, no. I said, oh, they didn't find nothing. He goes, oh, no, they never came back. I said, the police never, I said, you called them while you were there at the apartment and telling me you were there now and nobody showed back up again? Is that
what does that sound like, folks? And where do you think this is headed? Really weird. And weird doesn't mean that somebody did it, but we definitely want to look into it. Sweetie Brooker says, Woodpeck, I think you're right. We do just need his social media. He did an interview with Wink News. There's a photo. Yeah, I do see the photo, but there's nothing on there. So I'm going to read the ad after and show you the article and see what he says. But it's hard to gauge what somebody's saying on an interview. Gabby will never go on here and be interviewed. He did. I think you're saying, oh, Gabby. He did one interview with the news and never seen her or heard her again. That's really weird, folks. That's really weird. I want to see if we can track him down. That would be interesting. You would be surprised how, well, Jess is very enticing when she gets somebody on the phone. He never went on a search either, folks. All right, let's keep listening.
you're telling me?
Sorry.
He goes, yeah. I go, you know what? I go, you're full of shit. Because I already called the police department. You never called them. That's why nobody came back. I said, I'm flying down. I got a ticket for Wednesday. I said, you no longer have to worry about the police. I said, because when I get there, now that you live coach, you now lying to me and calling me for out of the clear blue, I'm pretty sure you did something to my daughter, and either you're going to tell me face to face what you did, or, we can handle this another way. When it's all said and done, you're going to tell me everything. And I hung up the phone on him.
And you can see why cases like this go cold, and you have lack of pictures, you have lack of evidence. Police didn't do something right away, but we got to get this out there, folks. I am dedicated to this, and even if we don't do live streams on this, we're going to do all of the series. I'll do a pre-record and I'll just release them as a pre-record, because for some reason there's not, there's 70 people. There were more people earlier, but if this doesn't gain traction, then pre-records are actually better and the word gets spread out, and I will be able to get more people involved. So this is the introduction to the case, and we will continue it.
And from that time on, I've never saw him again, never spoke to him again. Got there on a Wednesday. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me back up a second. I made him go down and file a missing persons report. And he said, "Oh, I have no right." I said, "I don't care if you crawl there." I said, within the next hour or hour and a half, I better hear back from you. I want a case number and I want a missing persons report. So he called me back. He had a missing persons report. I had him take a picture of it, which he did, and text it to me. And in the missing persons report, it said, my name is Gabriel Pena. I live at so-and-so with my girlfriend, Lauren Dumolo. I haven't seen her since Friday. And the reason I'm filing this missing persons report, because her father wanted me to. That was the entire, missing persons report, basically. So I flew down there on Wednesday. And I got there around 11 o'clock at night. Thursday, I called up the Cape Coral Police Department. I wanted to speak to the detective that was on my daughter's case. So the woman who answered the phone puts me on hold for about 10 minutes or whatever, and gets back on the phone and says, "We don't have any missing persons cases, and nobody is assigned to your daughter's case because we don't even have a missing persons report." I was like, "What are you talking about?" Excuse me. I said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "I have a case number right here with her boyfriend, Gabriel Pena, is the one who went down there on Father's Day." And
this is already looking bad, and he just seems to have disappeared. I'm looking up social media so we can find some pictures. We're going to finish this recording, and then we have the next one of Paul. I'd love for him to be on the show with us today, but next week.
Went down there on Father's Day and did the report.
All right, there's the first recording. Now let's see. I'm going to pull up the article so you can see that he actually did speak. He didn't have very much interest, folks, but here it is. Boyfriend of missing Cape Coral woman speaks. All right, let me pull myself down a little bit. Thank you all for being here. For those that support missing person cases, and it's not always just about having thousands of people on here because they want to hear about Madeline Soto, which I do, but we have to cover cases like this as well, and we have to get it out there so more people can come, interact, be aware. And don't forget, when you're done, to comment on this video and share it so that we can get more people active. Paul says, "I was under 24/7 police surveillance for 3 months. I was in Florida. I couldn't get within 10 miles of him because cops would pull me over." Yeah, I don't doubt it. And next week, you're going to be able to say all that you want to. We're going to let you speak and tell us what you have, we're going to do a Q&A, so we'll kind of stay on topic a little bit. I still have another interview from you. Carrie, you sent me so many things. It's hard for me to find the second part. If you can just email me the second part while I read this, that would be great. All right, so here it is, folks. Let me pull down so you can see the images, and sometimes people like to read the article. Gabriel Pena, they didn't even say his name, actually spoke to, it says, boyfriend of missing Cape Coral Woman Speaks. And then I thought you can click on this, but this is all you get. So I showed you a picture of him earlier. That's really weird. They didn't do a really good job here. It's been 3 weeks, and this has been 4 years now. So it's been 3 weeks since Lauren Dumolo was last seen. Her boyfriend, Gabriel Pena, spoke to Wink News about what happened what he thinks happened to his girlfriend. I don't think she left on her own because she would have taken at least some clothes or a toothbrush or makeup, Pena said. Pena recently was brought in the Cape Coral Police Department to take a polygraph test, and he claims that he passed. Police will not confirm this test result, nor will they say if Pena is a suspect in Dumolo's disappearance. Pena, on the other hand, simply misses his girlfriend and wants her to come home. He says, I'm worried and scared. Not scared because I didn't do anything, but I'm just worried something really did happen. Now, mind you, this is 3 weeks after she went missing. He says he last saw Lauren that Friday morning when he left for work. When he got home that evening, she was gone. He does have a theory, and we love theories, folks. We love when we hear with a suspect's theory, and he's not a suspect, but we'd like the cops to look at him again. Get OB on this. Dad is made for this. You can find this guy. I'm sure she can. I'll talk to her about it, but I want to. I'm telling you, I bet my life on it. He will not come on. Well, we want to get we want to at least get him to speak about something. And I do have some people that do research for me that are very compelling. So he may just give us a statement, and that statement can be analyzed. Paul, you would be surprised. I promise. All right. So let's finish this article, and then I'll play your last portion of the interview. Carrie, I did find the second recording. I'll play that after, and then we will like this. We will share this. We will put it in the forums. I just signed up for a forum for Lauren Dumolo. Okay, so we're going to get this out there and let people know it's going to be a series so that we can gain traction and find this and see it in the light. So what Pena says, he says he last saw Lauren on Friday morning when he left for work. When he got home that evening, she was gone. He does have a theory about where she could have gone. We love when they have theories. So my thing is that she went out with one of her friends. Her friend got all messed. Oh, what? Her friend got her all messed up on drugs, and I don't know what after that, Pena said. Wow. The police have deemed Dumolo's disappearance suspicious. So far, Southwest Florida Crime Stoppers has received a few tips, but no substantial leads. At this point, everything attached to Lauren has been flagged. So if she went and used her credit card or debit card somewhere, we would know that, says Trisha Rout with Crime Stoppers. So with every hour that passes, every day that passes, it becomes a little more desperate to find where she is. We're now at 4 years and over, folks, and we know what that means. And we now want to bring justice to the family and find out something where she is, find a body, bring her home, get a suspect. People don't just disappear. Lauren's father, Paul Dumolo, thinks his daughter is still alive, and this is 3 weeks after, but fears that she'll become another cold case. Hence, we're at 4 years, and it's probably a cold case, folks. The wondering part is probably the worst you know. Even if the answer is bad, at least you have closure. This is what Paul said. Paul does also recognize there's a possibility she could be gone forever, but doesn't want to let his mind go there. All right, community members were doing searches and vigils and so forth, and so far, that's all I can find on this. Now we're going to hear Paul talk. He has some more to say, and then we're going to watch afterwards. After we're all done with all this, we're going to go over and flood Watts The Obsession. She is doing her premiere tonight, and then tomorrow night I'm going to be on there. So here's the second recording with Paul. Again, thank you all that are supporting and being here for this case. When you have a case that's gone cold and there's not a lot of information other than what the family's telling you, this is what you get. All right. Let's see if we can.
So anyway, I got down there Wednesday night at 11 o'clock. I called up the police department.
Now, this is a continuation. While we're listening to this, I'm going to see if I can find a Gabriel Pena, any kind of social media, and then put a word out to get help with that. Even if he doesn't come on, I think we can get a statement, or we can at least find out where he is and try to do some research for ourselves, folks, because that's why we're here. There's no other reason for us to be here and put energy into this case unless we have a goal. So our goal is to put Lauren back in the spotlight and show some love for Paul and keep it going, because that's all we have.
They didn't have any file or anybody on my daughter's case, and I was like, they said they didn't even have a missing persons report. Well, I had the picture of it, so I said,
wow.
You know, her boyfriend went down there on Father's Day, filed a missing persons report. I said, her name is Lauren Dumolo. Here's the case number, blah, 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 blah. She took it. She put me on hold. And then she returned back in about 15 minutes or 10, 15 minutes. I guess I was on hold. She said, there's going to be a detective calling you soon. Is this a good number I can reach you at? I said, yeah, this is my cell phone, you know. And I got a call from Detective Nick Jones asking me to come down to the Cape Coral Police Department, and which I did. And then I found out that whoever took the police report of the missing persons report on Father's Day didn't enter it into the computer properly, and nobody was ever assigned to my daughter's case. So, as you can imagine, I wasn't very happy about any of that. I sat in the Cape Coral Police Department with Detective Jones, and at the time there was a captain that was there, and he was from Massachusetts, for about 2 hours. And you know, we had this whole conversation about, you know, my daughter and, you know, her boyfriend.
I also have the footage if you want to see it after this. It's 3 minutes of Lauren applying for a job, and it's the last footage that she was seen. So let's bring Lauren home, whatever that means. That also sounds like Jennifer Soto in one of the interviews. She says, let's bring Maddie home, whatever that means. And we are on day 2. So all of these cases matter. And yeah, Trooper Proctor. Trooper Proctor is crazy, folks. If you don't know the Karen Reed case, I couldn't even cover that. All right, let's keep going. We're talking about Lauren, and we want to bring her home to her family.
Friend, and you know what the suspicions I had, and he lied to me about, you know, calling the police, and he never did. On Father's Day, you know, that I've never spoken with him before until this, and out of the clear blue, he calls me, tells me, you know, my daughter is not there, and you know, when he got home from work, and why he called me. I'm sure there were plenty of times he got home and she wasn't at home. She, you know, was at the pool or her mother's or, you know, whatever. But now, for some reason, out of the clear blue, this guy, after 4 years, just decides to call me. You know, none of it made sense. And, you know, once I caught him lying to me, I knew, you know. And my daughter didn't, for the first time ever, did not contact me on Father's Day, which she did. Never, ever missed Father's Day. Always called me, you know, and we always spoke. So, you know.
Yeah, I wonder what was going on with that situation. I wonder if he was bringing drugs back into her life, and there was partying going on, and she didn't want to talk to you, Paul. Thank you, Naomi, of all this case. I appreciate it. Again, I may not do lives. I may do pre-records, but pre-records do really well when you put them out there. Someone just wants to listen to an episode, they can listen to it without me talking to you all. So they actually do better in that way. And I want this to do better because I want people to hear about this.
And prior to this, 2 weeks before this, she actually sent me pictures where she had bruises all over her, and he beat her. And I was going to go down there then. And unfortunately, like I said, at the time, it was in the height of COVID, and I would have been quarantined for 2 weeks. The only reason I wasn't quarantined is because when I did go down, it was because of my daughter's case, and I made sure I had all my shots, so I had to show my shot records, and explain to them what was going on, blah, 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 and they worked something out where I didn't have to get quarantined for 2 weeks, especially leaving California, where I was living at the time. So, anyway, that's how this whole entire thing started, and I
Thank you all for supporting the effort to bring Lauren home. That's the best effort that we can do, and to bring this out into the light. The podcast was done in 2021, folks, so that shows you that what's happening, what's happened, where it stopped, and it should not. If this was one of your family members or loved ones, or especially a daughter, you would not want this case to go cold, especially when we have a pretty good suspect that can give us more answers than he has.
I actually was there and stayed in a hotel for 3 months. I was out on the street every single night talking with people. I knocked on people's doors. I knocked on Carl Crow's door after he got out of jail, but he didn't answer his door. And, I went everywhere. I actually had Detective Jones calling me, telling me he got a tip that she was going to be at some hotel in
You hear that? That's the kind of things going on. And hello, Mom. How are you? This is a parent's worst nightmare. And that's why I'm here today, because I can feel Paul's pain. My mom's here and she's listening. Mom, share this episode with your friends. I know they like true crime, and this can help somebody that knows something.
Fort Myers, that I should go there and check it out. They didn't send the police there. He called me to go there. Go figure that out. And then there was another time he sent me down by the beach in Fort Myers, that whole strip down there, because she was supposed to be at a hotel over there, hanging out and blah, blah, blah. Why they didn't send the police there? Don't know, but they told me, he said, I heard that I got another tip, you may want to check it out there. So, I'm not sure why he decided to send me everywhere, but that was fine with me, because, I was going to get to the bottom of it one way or another. So basically for 3 months.
And 4 years and 8 days later, we're still doing that. After that, we'll watch the surveillance footage of the last time that Lauren was seen. And then we will start doing our homework by looking for Gabriel Pena and finding out if he has social media, what we can find out about him. So we can just see what and where, and we'll do some detective work, folks.
I was on the streets talking with everybody I possibly could, and I had other people helping me, and friends of mine that were really good with computers who would go on Facebook and track down all her friends and all the friends that she knew, and then the friends that they knew. And I had lists and lists of people. I had people that I knew down in Florida. I'm not going to mention any names or anything like that, or any kind of, clubs, as far as motorcycle clubs go. But if I got a name, I would have an address, phone number, who, was living, blah, 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 within 5 minutes. Yeah. And that's pretty much how I handled my business for 3 months down there. And the entire time I was there, I was followed by the cops.
All right. So Paul was followed by the cops. Paul has all of Gabriel Pena's information, and he knows where he is every day. Well, Paul, why don't you email me that or text it to me or whatever, and I will do my due diligence with that. All right. OB can find him. Nerdy Cat. OB doesn't have to find him because Paul has his information, and we're going to do our part, and his phone number, and it didn't change. All right. Well, we got your back. I've got my person that got me on the phone with Dr. Thomas I always remember it's Dr. Thomas Andrew in the Corey Michelo case, and that I still have to get back to him. We have to make an appointment, but we're pretty good with that stuff. And if you send that over to me, we'll do our part. All right, let's keep going.
This story goes way, way into depth. There's so many moving parts to the story. It would take me hours and hours of recordings to, explain everything. And it'll be much easier to do that on the show. This way, if I take it step by step, it'll be in the proper order, number one. Number two, it'd be much easier to understand it that way also. So, there's a lot that really went on with this case that was just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I was followed 24/7. I was under surveillance 24/7 from the time I got there until 3 months later when I left. I caught the neighbor lying to me that lived right next door, and he told me he got along great with my daughter. And 2 weeks before this, me and my daughter were having a conversation. She was having a problem with him and his girlfriend. And she's like, Dad, the girlfriend's crazy. She's thinking that, that I'm, being with her boyfriend. I mean, they just moved in here. I don't even know her. She's just jealous. I don't know why. I'm living here with Gabby. And they just both of them giving me a hard time all the time. Well, when I spoke with him, which was the next day, which was on a Friday, he just happened to walk out of his house and he was throwing away garbage. And I walked up to him. I said, this is my daughter. Right here. I'm Lauren's dad. She's been missing. Did you ever hear anything over there? Anything on? No, just normal things. I said, really? She goes, yeah. I go, they never argue? He goes, no, they did. It wasn't nothing. It was just normal stuff. I said, oh.
That's sad that Paul's having to do that detective work. And Bree, you're awesome and loved. I'm not sure what you're feeling right now or why you're feeling bad, but you should definitely get some rest. You're part of the Guilty of Crime team. When I say our team is awesome, you're part of that team. So I didn't name Wolfpack or Davy, which is missing in action. Davy, we miss you. Come back. I haven't had time to email you, but yeah, we're all in the Guilty of Crime team and we all do the work together. So yeah, you should definitely, Bree is the timestamping queen and we appreciate you for more than that. But we're talking about Lauren Dumolo right now. We want to bring her home.
I said, okay. And I didn't tell him about that. I had pictures of bruises all over her and that she was beaten just a couple of weeks before that.
Wow.
And he goes to telling me, how he got along great with my daughter. He would get home from work and she would be sitting outside having a cigarette and they always talked and laughed and she was very personable and blah, 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 blah. So now I caught this guy lying to me because she didn't get along with him. She didn't get along with his girlfriend. And they just moved in a month ago. And he tells me, yeah, me and my girlfriend just moved in a month ago, but, she now, last week or whatever, or 2 weeks ago, moved out. I said, you just moved in here and she's moved out? You guys split up already? He goes, yeah, things just weren't working out, which I found to be really odd. So there was a time that, I was going to go pay him a visit with a couple of friends of mine down there. And got to the driveway and 4 cops pulled up on me. I'll explain that story to you also.
Yes, please.
During the actual interview with Jaya. And
it's Jay, by the way. Paul, now that we've talked, it's Jai, but it's pronounced Jay. Lady Justice, you must have missed it. We have Gabriel Pena's information. When I say we, I mean Paul has it, but Paul is part of we now. So when I say the Guilty of Crime team, it is all of the people that work with Guilty of Crime. Not the mama's one of them. Jess, she's not here today. I know Carly's here, but she's behind the scenes listening. I know she's getting her nails done. And Davey, I need to talk with him. But all of you, Wolfpack, JoJo, Bree, all part of the Guilty of Crime team, and everybody else that helps me do research that so kindly offers. part of the team. We're all a team. I think half the people that are in here in chat today are part of the people that work with Guilty of Crime. So, all right. I'm glad you're talking to us, Paul. And we got a couple minutes, and then we're going to watch the surveillance, and then we're going to share the crap out of this.
Everywhere I went, if I got within 5 or 10 miles of Gabriel, everybody called him Gabby, cops would be there. If I went to Four Freedoms Parks, cops would be there. When I was at my hotel, cops would always come in at least every half hour on the dot, circling to make sure my car was still there, make sure that my, I was sitting outside, because I sat outside most of the time because I smoked. So I was outside and, knew a lot of the guys that were staying there that were working from another state. And they would stay at the hotel. So, being there for 3 months, I got to know a lot of the people. I knew everybody in the hotel that worked there. Pretty interesting. Yeah. Pretty interesting situation. But anyway, that's kind of how this whole thing started. And by the time we get done with the interview, next week, you'll have a much clearer and better picture of exactly how everything started, like I told you, and everything happened in between until right now. And there's just way too much to get into, but
there is way too much, and I appreciate you saying that, because on that note, we're going to show the surveillance, and then we're going to start next week. We're going to do a live stream with Paul, and you're going to meet him, see his face. That was a recording because today was the day that I could do this, and I wanted to introduce the case and start getting it out there. There are so many twists and turns, you wouldn't believe it. In this case, you're going to hear about. Let's look at this. Thank you to Ichtmel. You probably know who that is if you're a Facebook person. And it's the last footage of Lauren. Let's see if I can get this. I don't know if there's volume, folks, or what. Hold on. It says it's playing. What happened?
Parkway apartment. And she lived with her boyfriend, Gabriel Pena, at these apartments. On June 19, the following day, Gabriel woke up around 6 a.m. to go to work. He said Lauren was sleeping, and he kissed her and headed out the door. That same morning, there's a maintenance worker.
Sorry.
And he claims to have seen Lauren. I believe it was around 8:15, sometime that morning. They encounter each other. She asks him about if he knows if there's any apartments in that area, because she's looking to get out of her situation that she's in.
Wow.
And he said no. They had a brief conversation. He gave a vague description of her wearing a t-shirt and shorts, and that was that. But Lauren's family, from what I read, found that story to be a little bit strange because, one, she had borrowed money, I think it was the previous month, to make.
All right, so we're not going to get into his story, folks. I tried to sign up for the Facebook group, the one and only, that is the major Facebook group that, they have those for missing persons. So I haven't gotten that yet. And Gothic Bree says, I was meaning, I love doing research and I love to help research. So when Jay's mentioning having researchers, I jokingly, well, no, you're not chopped liver. You do that. But I wanted to shout out, not the mama. She is insane. She doesn't do modding or anything else for us. All she does is she puts her voice on. She'll put this voice and she can get anybody on the phone. She does background checks for me, but we all have our parts. And I'm glad you're being silly, Bree, because we didn't even know you were here for a while. I know you said something about your back. I hope you're feeling better. Brian and Jill, well, Bree posts like the social work. LOL. Well, Bree posts like that made social work in me run to you and see what's wrong. That's how I'm built. You're funny. You guys, Michelle, I'm teasing. Okay, you guys are all on another track right now. Yeah, Bree's a great moderator. JoJo's a great moderator. Carly's a great moderator. Wolfpack is a great moderator. And JoJo and Davey, all great moderators, but we also have other people behind the scenes that don't even want to be talked about. They just want to help, and they don't want any kind of thank yous or any kind of mentioning. They just want to help. So those people that we don't talk about, and those people that we don't give thanks to, I'm giving thanks to them now because they don't want anything but to help. All right. Hi, Carly. Carly's back. I know you're there, but you're getting your nails done. By the way, Carly sent me a message, and guess what, y'all? The Chad Daybell house is for sale. Isn't that interesting? You guys watched the Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell, all that stuff? If you did, it's crazy. That house was $500,000 before, and now they're selling for $350,000. I wonder if it's because there were bodies in the backyard. Does anybody know about the Chad Daybell case? Yeah, very creepy. I don't know if anyone wants to see that real quick. I'm interested in looking at it really quickly. We can timestamp that out of this, but I was completely into the case, and I thought you might find it interesting. Yeah, it's very creepy. We were talking about that yesterday. We were talking about houses, and yeah, everyone says yes. So I just emailed that to myself real quick. I'm gonna take a look at the house. I want you to see Chad Daybell's house is now up for sale, folks, and it's where the bodies of JJ and Tylee were found. The family was currently living there. I'm going to give you a quick backstory. The family was living there. Chad Daybell has 5 kids, and they were living there the whole time, and they still back their dad, Chud Dumbbell. So here you go, folks. This is Chad Daybell's house. He turned this house over to his attorney, John Pryor, and let's look inside of it. So it was $500,000 when he turned it over, and it's now gone down to $350,000. I think we should all pitch in and buy it. What do you think? Let me see if you guys can. Oh yeah, you guys can see it. Great. You guys want to look at it with me? That stranger J. Daybell put it. That stranger J, because Daybell put it. Did Chadley get the death penalty? Chadley. All right, let's look at this real quick. This is the Chad Daybell house. There's 33 pictures. It went from $500,000 to $350,000. That means that all of his children that were supporting him are now kicked out, folks. Look at this house. And remember, Chud Dumbbell thinks he's a prophet. So he's got like this picture. It looks almost like a picture of Jesus, or Jesus Christ. They're LDS. It's interesting. He's got another one that looks kind of like that there. Very flat house. It's got the air conditioner. Is everybody still with me? I hope so. Don't forget to hit that like button, folks. Chode Dumbbell, I'll take that. We're looking at Chode Dumbbell's house. And before I get off on a tangent, Paul, I want to thank you. Carrie, I want to thank you for bringing this case to me. We will keep on this. I'll have you on next week, Paul, and you can tell the story yourself. And then I'll continue the series, probably pre-recorded, unless I get more people in here. Yeah, former LDS, he got booted out. That doesn't matter, but yeah, Carly Chode. All right, let's look at the house. Talk amongst yourselves. Let me pull this down so I can see the house better. Hey, I'd go in on this house and just rent it out as a horror house. So it's just interesting to see where Chode Dumbbell lived. And you can see all the stuff in his house. Very plain. He had 5 children. Tammy Daybell, I forgot, also died in this house, in the room. And then the children were buried, JJ and Tylee. So they have like a picnic table because 5 kids, 2 parents, 7 people, a little bit of a small house, no upgrades. Well, that's a good picture. I'd like to see that. What they got going on there. Wow, we can see their water heater, folks. I bet you Tammy did that with the bathroom, the bright yellow. I don't know whose bedroom that was. They didn't even have kids there. Maybe there was the grandkids. frog dumbbell. Buy it, resell it, give it to victims' families. I don't know if the victims' families would want to live there. Well, no, she didn't die, but she was dead in the house. Yeah, everybody that was on that property was murdered. Yeah, absolutely. And thank you again, Carrie. Thank you, Paul. We'll continue this. I just had to look at this house that it's what we talked about yesterday, Chris Watts, and it's like the house of horrors. I don't know who would pay $350,000 for this, having 2 children buried in the backyard, and the mother of this house with all the children that was murdered. And that was probably her room. You probably had Chode over there texting Lori Vallow while Tammy was sleeping. I'm just making this up, but yeah, they got their outlet. Looks like could be for anything, but to me, it looks like you can plug an RV in there. Again, this is Chud Dumbbell's house. It's on 4 acres, and I'm just going through the pictures real quick. It's a very basic house. Lots of people there. I guess they're trying to show what it has to offer. There's those darn stairs that they talked about in trial, and not really having stairs in the house. Does anybody remember that? Anybody remember that whole segment of them saying they didn't have stairs? There was no second story, and they came back and they lied about it. There's that stairs to that stupid room that Chud Dumbbell talks about. Wow, what a complete and utter lie. And he did get the death penalty, by the way, just so you know. All right, let's look at the house real quick. There's the backyard where the children were buried, by the way, garage. So for $350,000, you can get an outlet for your RV. I don't know why they even showed this. The kids were buried right over here by the burn pit, folks. Yeah, there's 33 pictures. This is crazy, and I just thought you guys would want to see this. I wonder what this looks like and see if it even works. And then they should play creepy music on here. It doesn't look like there's much on here, but there it is. I'll bring myself back up here and show my way out. I don't know what happened here. It went away once I got out of here. Okay, so just so you know, if you want to go buy it, it's 202 North 1900 East Rexburg, Idaho. It's 1,894 square feet, 4 bedrooms, $350,000, folks. And I don't know why they call it the virtual tour, because, yeah, that was just the same thing that we saw. All right, y'all. Good luck to everybody. You guys have a good night. Good luck to the people trying to sell it. I thought that was interesting facts. Thank you, Carly. It's definitely creepy. I love creepy things, and just thinking about those kind of things makes your mind go. Miracle Hearts, I haven't seen you. Wow, I thought they had more acreage than that. Surprised. Yeah, there's a lot of people rolling in now. Interesting. Thank you for all you do, Jay. Great showing. I hope a lot of people rewatch this. Don't forget to hit that like button, folks, for Lauren Dumolo. Okay, we're in part 1. We're going to do the Complicit podcast. We're going to do more shows. We're going to bring Paul back on, and we're going to do a series. If I have to do the series behind the scenes, I will absolutely do that. Whatever it takes to get out there. Smash that like button, and let's get there. Let's get this case back out there, and I can do it with you all. Paul, send me Gabriel Pena's information, please, and we'll take care of it. Have a good night, y'all.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Guilty.